Good day to all of you string picking guys and gals out there. Welcome back to the String Pickers channel. I hope you're having a great day, an absolutely perfect day. Are you? Are you? Today we have a video. If you've noticed behind me, I have Crip on the bench. Getting some upgrades today. We are dealing with bridge replacements. I have behind me a little modification. The bridge that's on this thing, I didn't like. When I put the 5-string Diodarios on there, the B string was so thick that it just didn't set in the saddle well enough, and it wouldn't even fit all the way into the hole. Those strings have cloth right around the ball and around the tips of the string. The problem with that is the hole on this bridge was not big enough for it to fit all the way through. So what we are doing today is we're swapping it out for this nice, sleek looking bridge right here that has a deeper groove in the saddle. And we are going to put this thing on there. We have to sand down the back of this because the ground wire comes up through the body. We wanted to get a good connection to the metal right here. But yes, we are going to replace this today, and we are also going to replace the 7-string bridge with a black one as well, a little better bridge than what's on it right now. On that bridge, I'll show that to you just here in a second. But it's going to be an improvement from the bridge that we have on here right now. The bridges were the two main complaints that I had about this guitar. I just didn't like at all how the bridges were set up. It was brought up to the owner of the company from another fan in the Free Guitars group. It was one of the only complaints that he had about the bridges, or about the guitars, was the bridges. And they pretty much said that their hands were tied. That's the bridges that they used on that style of guitar, that they really didn't have any other kinds of bridges that they could source to make it easier for those guitars. So not a big deal to me. You guys know I mod guitars, I fix guitars, I put a stinking guitar kit together, you know. So you don't always get what you want when you buy a guitar. You have to do things to it to make it your own, to get rid of certain little quirks or headaches. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over here to the bench. We are going to start with the bass side. We're going to take this old bridge off and we're going to put this new bridge on and see if we can't get this bass to leveling out, playing a lot better than what it already is, which plays just great how it is. But we're going to try and make it better by doing these modifications to it. So stick around, hang out on the bench with me for a little bit, and let's walk through today's video. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what the problem is right here. I'm going to zoom you in. I want you to look. Let's see here. Probably can't see it. See this ball sticking out right here? The rest of them are flush. This B string ball is sticking out because it's caught in this hole right here. I thought I wallowed that out enough. It stays in tune and everything, but this is a problem for me. I always know it's there. Nobody else does, but I do. So that is what we are going to fix. I don't want to see that. Every time I look down at the guitar while I'm playing it, I see it. It's just a big eyesore. It does stay in tune, it does play good, but it's an eyesore. I think that a new bridge is going to help out tons, and I mean tons, with the playability on this guitar. I think it's going to lower the strings even more. It's going to help out overall, and with playability and with intonation and all of that. So let's get right into this. Okay. So here we are. We are going to take all these strings loose and probably going to tighten up these tuners as well. I like the bass tuners on this. They're okay, but I think that E string has a bit of a catch to it. So I don't know if there's something I can do to actually help that. It's not wiggling a whole lot, so not really sure if I can do anything that's going to fix that or not, but you know, while we're into it, might as well look. You know, as a musician, I want all of you guys to know this. As a musician, you need to understand you're going to run into stuff that you're not going to be happy with. And a lot of musicians will turn around and they will just straight up, they'll give up on an instrument, trade it off for something else, and move on. And hey, that's you. You do you. I do me. That's just part of it. That's the whole personal preference deal. But if there is a chance that I can gain experience by working on something and making it my own and gaining knowledge on how to do that certain thing, we all have to start somewhere. Why not start on a project that's going to save you money as opposed to something that's going to wind up probably causing you to break even or lose money if you have to take it to a luthier. And believe me, you don't want to do that unless you absolutely have to. I did do that with a carving amp. When I first got it, I've told this story. If you've not seen that video, go back through my videos and watch it. The story of how I obtained my carving half stack X100B for $60. When I got it, I just know that I wasted $60, but I knew that the cab was in good shape. I knew that was okay. So basically, what I did was got it home, and I was like, well, I got $60 for a cab. I just preamp it with something else. But the amp powered up. So I knew at that point in time that the head was going to be fixable. And I knew that the tubes in it were in really good shape. So I knowed at that point it needed capacitors. Ladies and gentlemen, I can fix just about anything, but one thing I do not have luck with is electricity. I know about electricity. I can work on electrical outlets and things like that. But my luck with winning stuff is just about the same with that. I usually get the far knocked out of me every single time. So I did have to take it down, and I did have to have it worked on. But $260, I spent $200 on the repairs. I had a bunch of stuff done to it while it was down there. $200 on the repairs, $60 for the amp, and I could sell that amp today for $1,500 to $2,000 if I wanted to, but I'm in love with it, so I choose not to. Okay, we got this off. May knock some. Those are decently clean. So yeah, that's the deal with that. You can kind of see where I wallered that hole out just a little bit. And I think this other one is just a bit bigger. As a matter of fact, I believe it is just a bit bigger. But all the holes on this are big and they're the same size, so they should be. These, they step down the smaller you go. But yeah, this is just a janky little bridge. I had to adjust this one all the way down, and then when you tighten it up, it pulls against the other ones like that. I don't like that. There wasn't any grooves for it to set in at all. That is garbage. I do not like this bridge at all. It was playing. I did have it playing, but I did not like that bridge at all. So let me sand this down and get this to where a little bit of metal is showing so we can have good connection with our ground wire right here. Okay, so we got this off. While we got this off, we're going to clean this down and we're going to condition this fretboard. Put a little bit more of the old Dunlop 02 on there. Give her a drink because she be thirsty. A lot of bass players out there, and I don't know, maybe you guys can chime in on this. A lot of bass players out there will coat their fretless necks in some kind of craziness. I don't know. Some of them use super glue, some of them use some kind of epoxy or something. I don't know, but where I do most of my business close by at my music store. I have an amazing guitar tech there, amp tech, and they always fill me in on what to do, what not to do. If I have questions, they're always super helpful. Of course, I guess they get most of my money. So as far as music wise, what don't come from Amazon anyway. But I asked him about that a while back. I said, "Is there?" Because this is the first fretless bass I've ever owned in my entire life. And by the way, we're doing the graphite in the nut slot. But yeah, I talked to him and asked him, "Hey, you think I should put some kind of coating on that fretboard?" And their response was, "I'd leave it alone. I'd condition it like you do your regular guitar neck, because you're getting flat wound bass strings to put on there, so that's not going to be rough on the neck. Just keep it conditioned and go from there." So that's what I'm doing. I'm just keeping her conditioned, keeping it hydrated, and graphite in the nut slots, and basically just going from there to keep this fretless bass playing optimal. We have checked, and guess what? The ball goes all the way through. Yay! Did have to peck it just a little, but it went right through. Don't have to deal with the eyesore. We've got her sanded down on the back so we can get good metal contact with the ground wire right here. So let's get this thing installed. Well, thought my camera was recording, apparently not, so you missed. The holes do line up, but as you can see the difference, old screw, new screw, quite a bit smaller. So what I did was put toothpicks in every hole, took my little, broke them off, took my little handy piece of wood right here. I think I'm going to name that piece of wood. I've used that more than I have anything. And just laid it on top and pecked them down to where they would be flush or under where they're supposed to be. And now we're driving screws into it. So, but yes, they do line up, and I have got to drill 2 holes here and here because the other bridge did not have those holes. I was thankful though that the 5 holes in the back, I mean, it wouldn't have been, hard to do. I could just drill them out if they didn't line up. Moved it up just a hair, but they do line up, and I just filled the holes with toothpicks, and now these screws would fit in there real nice and tight. And that will solve our problem there. If you use a drill like this, I mean a 20-volt lithium DeWalt, uh, these things can sprain your wrist. So heads up on that. You don't want to round the screw heads off, number one. Number two, you don't want to strip your hole out. Okay, all right, that looks like it's winner chicken dinner. And now I took this off, this saddle off, because I wanted to see if that was going to fit through there like it was supposed to, and it did. So now we are going to put the saddle and the spring and the screw back on here. My plans don't always come together, but when they do, let me tell you, I appreciate them a whole lot more than when they don't. And that's for sure. You take somebody that's as unlucky as I am, and you let something go right for a change. I'm telling you, it makes all the difference. Okay, let's wipe this down again, and then we're gonna. I don't know if you guys have seen the series that I done on this double neck guitar, but I've got a 4-video series on it that you guys need to check out. This guitar, man, I'm telling you what, you talking about causing some issues. Dropped it on the floor, and when I did, this neck, the glue broke loose in the pocket, and it broke loose in the pocket, and when it did, it just come completely off. I had to sand it down and then use the good old Type Bond wood glue, and after I sanded it down and clamped it back in there, and she's good to go now. But boy, I'm telling you, you're talking about worried. I just know that it was done at that point. I thought, boy, I will never get this thing fixed, but I did, and now she's working like a charm. Boy, today must be just tech problems day or something or another. I'm telling you what, it's just camera doesn't want to agree with me. This is twice now I've had to shut it off and turn it back on. I don't know. It's just part of it, I guess. I tell you what, I'm gonna save you the boredom of restringing, and I am going to get it strung up, and then we'll come back for the juicy bits. Well, that didn't sound good. Yeah, we're going to have to raise the saddles and everything. So, yeah, we'll bring you back for the juicy bits, and once we get her strung up, because we're going to have to intonate and everything. So we'll get to that just here in just a minute. Okay. Yeah. Very low. That one's got a dead few rattles. B string looks good. May lower it just a bit, but and it's usually how you can tell, when it comes to regular guitar, you can mash the fret and you can tell if it's buzzing or not, whether or not to raise or lower your saddles. Well, on a fretless, I found out that if you just hold in the first position and move up, and as long as you don't hear a buzz in that slide, then you're pretty good. But we do have buzzing there. We completely dead on the A string. Right there on the D, the G string. G string's good all the way, it looks like. I don't think that we'll have to adjust the height on that one. So let me cut you off from there. Let me see if I can't get these working out pretty good. And basically, it's best to start low and then go up until you don't hear any deadness or rattle at all. We have her intonated, him, I guess, if you want to call him that. And everything looks good, sounds good. That's a little shaky up there, but But she is intonated. She is ready to go. And we're going to call it right here on this side. And we're going to do the bridge replacement on the 7-string side on the next video. Okay, that's got it for the bass. I do have the bridge for the 7-string side. It just came in. First, let's see how this sounds. Whew, not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, very impressed. Uh, that just goes to show you just how much difference you can make in your instrument by making a simple modification, like adding a new bridge when the other bridge happened to be a problem. Strings set a whole lot lower now. I don't have to fight as hard with them. It's just an amazing difference. I'm really glad that I ordered this bridge. And plus, the black just kind of sets it off with the board and stuff. So that is definitely going to be a much needed improvement on old Crip here. And as far as next video we are going to dive into the 7-string side. This one can be seen without taking it out of the package. This one is definitely going to be a plus. See them rounded backs? Going to make it a whole lot easier to get to those screws whenever I do have to change strings again, because the screw holes are just right in between, and it should be a perfect match to what I've got here already. But we'll worry about that next video when we tackle the 7-string side. Hey, I appreciate you guys coming in. Sorry it wasn't a more exciting video than what it was, but I do appreciate you being here. If you would like for me to dive more into intonation on this and more into raising and lowering on a fretless bass on the other side, leave me a comment. I can make short videos showing you how to do that. A lot of the stuff that I learn, I'm learning along the way. And but yeah, this was something that needed to be done. I haven't played this bass on this in probably 3 or 4 weeks now, because it was just so exhausting on the fingers, and now it's just buttery smooth. So didn't realize I'd make that much of a difference, but I sure did. And but if you have questions about that or any other thing involving on a bass that you would like to see, just leave me a comment down below, and I'll make a video on it, and we'll talk about it, and we'll figure it out together. But for now, thank you guys so much for stopping in and joining me here at Obscene Studios and diving headfirst into this bridge replacement. So glad that I got it. So glad you guys were here to see it. And as always, inspire and yet be inspired. Always put God first, and always remember that the door is closing, so you have to leave.